Hi, everybody. I'm Jonathan Farrell with the Two Mortgage Guys team, and today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Noah Thomason from Exit Realty in Temecula, California. How are you, Noah?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You just had a camping trip. Now you're all back and fresh,
I am
ready
all
to get
back and
perfect.
ready to go.
There you go. So Noah has been one of my power partners for a very long time. He was actually one of the first people that I really connected with right when I got into the industry. We've been doing business 7 years, I think.
Yeah, about 7-8 years.
7-8 years
Yeah.
so far. So, no, I just want to talk a little bit about yourself personally, so that way everybody can kind of get to know you.
All right.
So you're married.
I am married.
You have 2 boys.
2 boys.
And they are
Elijah and Levi, 7 and 3.
I can't believe he's 7. I remember when he was like.
Time goes by so
like
fast.
2.
It's crazy.
So, how long have you lived in the area?
I've lived in the area since I was 7, so about 23 years.
Okay, so you know the area pretty well.
I know the area pretty well.
And so most of the areas that you service a lot of Temecula, a lot of Menifee, Marietta, all the surrounding areas.
Yep, Riverside County, LA County, and San Diego.
I know you had a couple. You had like a duplex or something over in LA.
Triplex. In
Triplex.
LA.
But one of the areas that you've been hitting up a lot, and I know that you're getting a lot of recognition in, is the Menifee area.
Correct.
So what are you doing in Menifee that's garnering a lot of attention from the senior community?
Well, I like to farm the senior communities just because I like to have my son involved with everything that I'm doing, so he kind of learns sales and how to speak to people and everything. So
you're creating the entrepreneur right now.
Right. And that kid is going to kill it when he's older. Oh man, his negotiation skills are rivaling mine already.
There you go.
We go back and forth quite a bit on how much he's getting paid for helping me hand out flyers.
He's negotiating.
Man, he's hilarious.
So you're walking the different neighborhoods with your son.
Yes. Yep.
And then
over in the Serenade, and then Creekside, and a few other communities around.
So I'm
gonna
give you a quick shout out real quick. Sorry to butt in. You had one listing pop up.
Mm-hmm.
The listing agent who kind of controls that, he says he controls that area, comes up to you and says, "Oh yeah, don't get comfortable here."
Yeah, he came through one of the open houses and kind of gave me a cold shoulder and said that he controls the area and that I need it not try.
And so then you started trying.
Yep. So he kind of put up the competition. So I took it on. So,
so now you got multiple listings in that. You got multiple closed listings there. What was going on with the HOA director?
Oh, so well, especially in places that I farm, that I'm really trying to take care of the community, I go the extra mile. There's been a few times where like carts will pile up near the entrance, from 99-cent store, from all these different areas. So I took the extra time just to call up the stores, have them come pick up the carts, make sure, to make the area nice. And I didn't say anything about it, but the HOA director found out it was me and had come up through one of my open houses and thanked me for always taking care of the community.
Right.
And she keeps giving me leads now that, there's a bunch of realtors that actually live in the community that have been part of the community for a long time. And she's already giving me referrals from people that live there just because she's so happy that we're taking care of the community.
Right.
So.
And that's important too. So, taking that extra time, going the extra mile to go and do all that stuff, you're garnering the recognition. I think that that's important too.
Oh, absolutely.
So, it's kind of funny because I wasn't with you at that open house, but then you told me about that, and then we kind of put together our plan, like, okay, let's go ahead and go about it this way. I'm excited for you because now your name is going up a lot more. We're seeing a lot more listings in there. You have buyers that consistently call you, which then I get happy because they come to me. But that's kind of the cool thing, because I know it kind of started as, okay, there's just one listing in this area. Right. Of course, a little competition isn't a bad thing.
Absolutely.
But that kind
keeps you on your toes.
Keeps you on your toes was the driving force to kind of like, okay, no, we're going to hit this community hard. So I know that you're killing it there. You're bringing your son, which is important. And a lot of, I think the one guy was like, oh, why are you taking your son? You're making him work.
Yeah, and that was my kind of concern too when I first started farming this area, because it's about 700 homes just in that community that we're farming. So, a lot of walking
Right.
for my son, but he's, at 7 years old, he's all about making money.
Right.
All he talks about is
he's a hustler.
Is making money to buy some Pokemon cards.
That kid's a hustler.
So he asked me how he can make money, and I told him, every month I'm walking every single house doing these door hangers with flyers. I said, if you want to, we can go out there and do it together. A father-son bonding time, and in my mind, I figure he's learning so much every time we go out there. He's talking to new people. When we first started this, you can have a stranger ask him a question, and he just sit there all quiet and wouldn't say anything and get all shy.
Right.
Now he's, oh, hey, anytime anyone's out in front of their house, hey, you should buy a house for my dad.
Perfect. He's your sales force.
He's my sales force. So he's really doing awesome. He's really learning
plus he's
how to
getting
speak
paid
to the
for it.
elderly. He's getting paid. I told him that every listing we get in that community, or every deal we get out of that community, he gets $50.
Nice.
So that's what he had negotiated from me.
Successful negotiation.
It was a successful negotiation.
He's gotten some Pokemon cards for sure.
For sure, yeah. And now
awesome.
he's saving up for a big item now, so he's learning the value of money and hard work. And
nice.
Yeah, it's
good.
We have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, that's good. Plus, then again, you get to spend time with your son and everything else.
Yeah.
He's developing the skills and everything. So I know that you've been doing a lot of that. So I wanted to highlight that. If you want, we could talk. I know that your wife is also a photographer.
Yeah.
She's doing a lot of different things as far as like different wedding events. She has her podcast too. So like if you want to talk a little bit about like
she
her
has
business.
the Mama Says podcast.
Mama Says.
It's basically just a podcast about things that moms go through. And our youngest son, Levi, he's autistic. So it's kind of highlights the issues and the hoops that you have to jump through with an autistic child, and just the struggles and the delights of being a parent and a good mom. So. And then she is a photographer. She's a wedding photographer.
Nice.
She does events and everything. So BiancaThomasonPhotography.com.
Okay, so we'll throw that in there.
Yeah, just throwing it in there. But she also does all of my listings
real
and
estate photography.
All of my real estate photography. She likes more of the natural type of stuff. So houses isn't really what she likes to do, but
she'll do it.
I mean, she does it.
She'll help you out. Well, that's good. Yeah. So talk about what are you seeing? Obviously, you started in the business just about the same time I did, about 7-8 years ago. How is the business changing? And then, of course, what are you doing that's something that's different than every other real estate agent out there? I know that you're doing a lot of farming in that area, but I also know that there's, you're competing with Open Door. You're competing with Zillow's starting to get in on all this stuff. So how has your office started kind of combating that? And also, what are you doing personally that's different than what somebody else would be doing?
Well, we're learning a lot about Open Door and, Purple Bricks and all of those companies.
Right.
We just went through a whole training seminar last week on combating Open Door.
Right.
And with Career Compass, they're a great training program for renewing your license. And they actually just did a full 3-hour debate live on stage with Open Door.
Wow.
Which brought forth a lot of interesting points and
Good.
kind of what they do. And yeah, it was interesting.
A
lot of information. Yeah, so a lot of the tactics that those companies use are pretty bad. You don't realize the small print on a lot of things, and they're kind of tricking a lot of people into paying a lot of money that they can't get back no matter what happens.
Because they put an upfront deposit, right?
Right. Yeah. So like Purple Bricks, for instance, it's like around $3,500, where they don't have to pay commissions, but exactly. So if they go and they don't ever sell the property, it's non-refundable.
Right.
So there's people that are trying to get the most money, most bang for their buck, but they're not getting the house actually advertised, and they're not getting as much as they could using a realtor that actually knows what they're doing.
Right.
And so in the long run, they end up eventually hiring a real estate agent anyway, and then they're paying commissions on top of the $3,500 they already spent that's non-refundable.
Right.
So it's kind of vicious cycle that a lot of people are
and
finding.
that's the thing too. So like even though I'm not a direct, I mean, I work a lot with real estate agents specifically, right? And we know what's going on that's out there. So, we as lenders also see it from that aspect too. They're trying to take away from the people that can actually sell their house and do it efficiently.
Right.
And not only that, we're in the business of protecting our clients and their money and everything else. So we see these different things and it's like, okay, this isn't going to benefit the client. We see, it might look good on paper. It might look even not on paper unless you read, if you're a headline reader, you're only reading, no, this person's going to sell. I'm only having to pay $3,500 instead of paying, 5.5%, 6% commission. But again, like as a real estate agent, you are a marketer. You're an expert in that. You're the one that's going to go out there and get that house sold. And so really it's going to cost the clients more money in the long run.
Right.
Because eventually, just like you said, maybe one or two of them might sell.
I mean, some of them
are definitely going to sell.
Some houses that are really, really nice and that are priced right will go with minimal advertisement.
Right.
It happens. It's a crapshoot. So, but for the vast majority, especially in the market, when it is a buyer's market,
right?
Those companies that just want their upfront money, and all they do is throw a listing up on the MLS, and that's it.
Exactly.
And that's, you could have gotten anyone to do that for
yeah.
and then it's just a crapshoot on whether it sells or not.
Right.
So, but you don't get that money back that you put into it. So. It's just better to hire a professional that is going to do everything they can to sell your house.
Right.
And, it ends up working out better in the end.
Yeah. I think that's the most important thing. Like a lot of people are they take a look at that. They see the headline, like, okay, I only have to pay this instead of paying a large chunk of money. But in the long run, it is going to cost a lot of people a lot of money. And it's something to look into and to actually teach people, hey, you need to read the fine print, especially on a contract, right? So like that's binding and it's going to cost you X amount of dollars and you're probably not even going to get the results that you're paying for anyway. So again, too, that's why I like highlighting that change in the marketplace. We see a lot of that, especially Zillow's one of the other ones. They're going to have like their Zillow owned homes and all this other stuff. But what we're seeing is it's going to eat away from people's net proceeds. It's going to take longer to sell, all this other stuff. So what we want to do is educate people on that aspect.
Well, and especially like with Purple Bricks, when you get an agent that just got hired on, they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
I just picked up a buyer yesterday. They were working with an agent. They called me asking me if there's any way to get out of this contract.
Yeah.
That they thought they had a buyer broker agreement with the agent and he hasn't done anything for them. And so she sent me the contract just asking if there's any way to get out of it. And it was actually a purchase contract. Turns out she's been in escrow for 20 days already. She has had nothing explained to her whatsoever. She has no idea what's going on. She hasn't put in the deposit into escrow.
That's crazy.
She hasn't done a home inspection, which needs to be done in the first 10 days. And they're 20 days in, they haven't done anything. Then it turns out that they keep switching from lender to lender because she was never qualified correctly in the first place. By the way, she's going to be calling you today.
Okay. Great. Perfect.
So, but because they were trying to buy a manufactured home that was pre-76.
Got it.
So, which you can't do.
Right.
There's one or two lenders out there that may be able to, but
they have to meet certain parameters.
It's a whole ordeal, and she doesn't meet that criteria.
Right.
So what she needed to do was get out. But the agent, she said, hasn't answered her phone call in the last 15 days.
Yeah.
She can't get a hold of anyone. She doesn't know if she's in escrow or she doesn't have any paperwork. It's a mess. And all I told her was, technically I'm not your agent. I'm just trying to help you out.
Right.
I said, the fact is they were trying to get you to put in $8,000 into escrow today. I said, don't do it and pull out of escrow.
Exactly.
Or else you're going to lose that money because they're supposed to be closing in 8 days.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything. Yeah. They don't even have a lender. I mean, it's ridiculous. And they're just, they're very thankful that I just explained the whole process to them because she's a first-time home buyer. She's 50 years old, never bought a house, doesn't understand the process.
Right.
But she's working with an agent that just hasn't explained anything to her. So she has no idea what's going on. and she's just trusting everyone, and it's kind of leading to her having an issue with realtors in general. So,
Right.
but after our conversation now, she's ecstatic that I've explained how everything is supposed to work.
That you've educated
so
her.
now she's educated, and the other thing is on that purchase, the selling agent or the listing agent is from Purple Bricks, and he has no idea what the heck's going on.
Right.
I mean, a normal listing agent would say, "Hey, it's been 10 days.
You need to have
When are you going to schedule the home inspection? You know,
Right.
what's going on?" And he's just been checked out of it, and nobody knows what's going on. And the poor seller is sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, I already packed all my stuff. I'm ready to go." And I'm like, "You need to go, for that lady's sake, go tell her that this isn't going to happen.
Right.
You know, that you're going to wait until the last day or a week after you were supposed to close, and then the poor lady is not going to know what to do."
Right.
You know, so
yeah,
there's a lot of people involved with these transactions, and when you don't do it correctly, it affects a lot of people negatively.
Right.
So you got to have some consideration for everyone involved.
I mean, Daniel and I just were talking about it's important who you work with. It's important that they know their stuff. It's important that they can protect you and help you and do all these different things that an agent is supposed to do. So again, when you're working with these internet companies that are going to save you money, it could cost you a lot more in the long run. Right. So that's important. But I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for being a part of our podcast today.
Absolutely.
And for anybody looking, if you're listening and you are looking for a good agent, hope that you give Noah a shot, because then you're in turn going to give me a shot as well.
Right.
so
he's the only lender that I work with. So.
Right. So we appreciate that, Noah. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good stuff.